I don't have to do a game. Oh,
We get time.
this game recap. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tigers Minor League Report presented by FanDuel. I'm Rogelio Castillo. Alongside me is Chris Brown and Uper at some point here in a few. But before we get to the podcast, I want to thank everybody who has donated to our spring training GoFundMe for us to go to the Futures game on March 20th. I'll put the link in our chat and also in the show description. So, also want to thank everybody to our Patreon pals as MF Doom and our Discord. Like that when Chris put that in our latest prospect reports from 11 through 19. So thanks for everyone who's joined us as Chris and I are both kicking off the winter funk and getting back into gear. As if you are in Michigan right now, the weather is atrocious right now. It is a complete and utter disaster out there right now. The cold looks like out this way it stopped snowing in my neck of the woods, but for everybody else out there, hopefully you stayed safe. Hopefully you're staying warm and there are no furnace issues or anything like that. Or I think there's a big trend that I've noticed in the news is trees are exploding. I don't know if anybody out there has trees exploding. Excuse me, I'm still a little hoarse. My voice is coming back, but yeah, I saw some pictures online of trees exploding, and I wasn't sure how legit that was for anybody out there. But yeah, it's crazy times. It's January, it's expected, and yeah. So for anybody out there that's dealing with that, hopefully you're staying safe. But plenty to get to today, actually, with Tarik Skubal officially taking home the Cy Young last night. There's a couple of things that the guys and I wanted to address with the Mets and the Yankees as far as like just what the offers out there were for Skubal, and he's pretty much going to be coming back in this year. So there's just and I think there's a certain piece that's coming with that for Tiger fans and myself as a writer, because quite frankly, trying to come up with 5 things the Tigers will do with Tarik Skubal gets old after a while. And, you look at the last couple of weeks or so before spring training, you hearing the rumors. We'll get to Nick Martinez, Jose Quintana, bad idea. Some of those ideas, one of those ideas is bad. But between that and also Chris Bassett rumors and interest and stuff like I should say interest, not rumors. And Uper joining us. Uper.
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing well.
I like the Cyclones gear. That's nice.
Well, both my wife and daughter are graduates, so they figured I had to have something to commemorate it.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. Especially because, the one thing about the Cyclone, like the Iowa State colors is, you know what? Iowa and both Iowa State have really good color schemes. I personally think that they have two of the better schemes among the state schools out there. Because, not to mention the Cyclones. It's not like the Hawkeye and the Cyclone are not animal. Like every damn animal for a reason. The eagle's a bear. Like it's, but what the hell is a Hawkeye? I don't know what a Hawkeye is. Outside of the MASH character, so it is kind of a cool, different change of pace.
I think it's a plant. I think.
Is it? Oh, it's a plant. Really?
Why is it?
Oh, okay. Why is it the bird then? I was just always curious about that.
The Cyclones, yeah, I don't know. They use this little chicken they call Cy, but the Cyclone itself they also use like a little twister as a alternative logo.
That is cool. But so at any rate, yeah, we'll just talk about the winter in Michigan. I'm not sure how the winter is where you're at currently.
Very cold.
Very cold. But is the snow? It's just very cold, right?
Yeah, snow is not even up to my ankles.
Oh no, it's about a nice good portion here in southeastern Michigan. But no, I wanted to there's the championship Sunday too. You got the odds out there right now, presented by our friends over at FanDuel, and it looks like the over Denver's favored by 3.5. Denver's favored by 3.5. Is that right? I'm sorry. New England's minus 3.5 the spread on that. So
New England's favored, yeah.
Yeah, New England's favored. And then for the Rams at Seattle, that's gonna be a really good. Both matchups are gonna be fantastic this week.
It's really going to be interesting to see how Jared Stidham does, not taking a snap all year and getting put into the biggest game of the season. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I hope he does well. I don't really care that much who wins, but I think I'm sort of leaning toward Denver as a just underdog thing.
Yeah, same here. And yeah, that's unfortunate because it looked like the injury that they had, Bo Nixon's injury didn't look like an injury when it happened. So, but I appreciate that their Armada is amazing there. He said that they've gotten 8 inches of snow already in New Jersey. Oof. That's and I know the west side of Michigan was getting hit pretty hard too. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking a bit about the Met. I'm not sure. Was there anything? I know we'll get to with the Yankees. Apparently, what the Tigers asked for the Yankees, but was there Joel Schumann put the player? Essentially, was with the same package for Peralta, essentially, right?
Bits and pieces of it, yeah, I would say so. And I think Skubal might have yielded 1 or 2 more pieces, possibly, but Sproat and Jet Williams were definitely in most packages people speculated on. So it would have been a big move. I mean, all through the winter, I've said it all along, if the Tigers play it out with 1 more year of Skubal and take the draft pick, that's not the end of the world. But certainly the Mets were always worth watching to see what move they make.
So the Mets, okay, so Joel, thank you. Armada said the Joel Schumann reported Tigers wanted the Mets' top 5 prospects for Skubal. And look, I mean, the thing out there is that Sky Harris is difficult to trade with and what have you, and a lot of just the back and forth among GMs is with that too. But before we get to that, though, I do want to play from yesterday. This is from Brad Galley on Twitter on WXYT Channel 7. I just wanted to have these 30 seconds of him talking last night during the Baseball Writers Association Awards, which, if we were living out there, we probably would have gone to and maybe dressed up in black ties. But, Chris, would you have dressed up in a black tie if you had the opportunity to go yesterday?
Where is it?
In New York. I mean, if we were close by.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's black tie only and that's the only way to get in there, then sure.
I'm just wondering if you do something different with the tuxedo, maybe do like a ruffle blue,
like Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I
think I just wear a hoodie.
You're the Adam Sandler. You're the Adam Sandler showing up.
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with that?
Or I wear the shirt with a tuxedo shirt. Infamous, you always see in the 80s kind of thing. No, but all jokes aside, but this is Tarik Skubal talk about where he was last year and how he pretty much sets himself up for where he was going to be. So
it's an honor to be back here, and it's something I'll never take for granted. After last year's dinner, I told AJ same time next year. I didn't really know it would become a reality. Skip, for the sake of superstition and a three-peat, let's go ahead and keep the same plan for a year from now. In all seriousness, I never take moments like these for granted, because who knows how many times I'll be able to share the space with these people. It's an honor to be back here.
So that was him talking about that, and there was the whole speech is like 2.5 minutes, but I felt like that was for the best 30 seconds.
It's interesting. You'd think a pitcher would have a better delivery, but it's
that was some tepid applause.
Yeah, I just think it was it was a funny comment. I think it was very clearly like he's not comfortable public speaking. Like he wasn't nervous or whatever. It's just it's not his thing. I don't think we're going to see Tarik Skubal, a color commentator, down the road. But yeah, I mean it's a fun comment. Like say I'll see you next year, and then it happened. I could see somebody else having a whole lot of fun with that, but it's just Charles Barkley or something. Skip.
Yeah, no, and there's who was it? There was somebody recently that I saw that for a fact he's gonna be a color commentator, and I'm trying to think of it was somebody on the Tigers. Huh?
Mendoza? No.
No.
After he's president. Yeah, I don't know. There are certain players that, yes, like Max Clark. If he wanted to do that right now, he could.
Yes, Max Clark was one. Yes, thank you. That was what I was thinking of, Max Clark. Yeah.
It's certain that just some people have that. In addition, Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher on the planet, and he's like, I think, a pretty fierce advocate for players and the union and all that stuff. He's just, some guys are better out there playing and talking in the clubhouse than in public.
Yeah, and there's I think what people tend to forget about that is that, they have to, some guys are media trained, some are not. And so it takes practice. I mean, look, I when I still do a presentation, I still have to, even now we're doing a live show. We're one of the few Tiger podcasts, I think the only Tiger podcast that goes live, and it is a live wire act the entire time. And honestly, the reason why the last couple of weeks is because I've been sick. And when I'm sick, I'm sorry, I suck as a person. I'm useless. I can't talk. I have no voice. My wit is gone, and I'm just a baby. I'm just a giant baby when I'm sick. I will freely admit that to the day. It's just, I did a couple articles. I got the GoFundMe, which is now in our chat for those who were interested in donating. That was a bare minimum. I went to work and I was just like I'm out. And so it's, once I got in bed, I was useless. And so, anywho, yeah, I should share a better link. But anyway, the thing is that these guys, daily interviews.
Bonnie Tyler last week?
I like it.
Yeah, for those who got our Patreon when we're talking about the international list, I did sound like Bonnie Tyler, except no turn. Was it turn around? There's my Bonnie Tyler. Yeah, for those who were not totally close to the heart, and she did another song.
We need a hero.
Yes, thank you.
Looking out for a hero, something like that.
Yeah,
I'm holding out for a hero.
Hero, and then the mattress of the 80s. But so getting back to Skubal though, so there was thank you to Armand is amazing here. He said that that's top 5 prospects they were asking about to be clear was Northern McLean, Carson Binge, Brandon Sprout, Joe Tong, and Jet Williams. So those were the 5 that the Tigers were asking for. And those right there are 5 prospects that could put you in a championship caliber team in a way. I think Jet Williams, I don't know, Chris. Yeah. I was going to say, what's your thoughts about Jet? Because I thought Jet he has some abilities, but I don't know if it would translate over to the big league levels.
I'm not crazy about Jet Williams. It is fun to have a guy who played infield and outfield. I think he's a second baseman outfielder now, mostly outfield. I don't know. Really small guy. Has a little bit of pop, but mostly speed, and tons of walks. And I'm always a little bit wary about the guys who walk a ton and get a lot of their value from walking in the minors, because it just, you can have a great eye in the minors and it succeed, but once pitchers in the big leagues know that they don't have to expand the zone to get you out, they can just throw strikes and get it by you. That's a different thing. I haven't watched Jet Williams a ton. We saw him with St. Lucie. We saw him with Binghamton, so I don't know. He feels more like a 4th outfielder to me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And but yeah, you look at Freddie Peralta. The Mets gave up Sproat and Williams for Freddie Peralta. Was that it? Or was there somebody else in that?
I think there was.
Mets got a pitcher as well.
Oh, that's right. They got Tobias Myers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's obviously a pretty enormous asking price the Tigers had there, but they should, you ask for everybody, and if they give them to you, then great. If they don't, then you're happy keeping your 2-time Cy Young winner and getting 6 to 7 WAR out of him this year and making another playoff run. I think just everybody has not put the value of that. It's so weird. It's like people either want the Tigers to go all in or tear it down. You should have traded him then. And it's like, what's wrong with just trying to make the playoffs again? I understand, we all want them to spend $200 million on free agencies that, to make a run at the World Series, but that's just not what they're set up to do. but there's nothing like, again, there's nothing. They have a pretty good team. Like they've got a strong chance to make the playoffs. They got one of the best pitchers in the world, and they've got some 2 really good prospects who may be able to come up and help this season. I think that's not the worst place to be, but people are just super pissed off constantly. At least, you know what? I shouldn't say this. This is the vocal minority on Twitter, right? This is always the case. It is, or Facebook, or the radio. Most people are content. Maybe not content, but they're happy watching the Tigers, and it's entertainment for them, and that's fun. The hardcore fans get a little upset.
A lot of people, when it comes to the off season, they want the full blown fireworks, and the Tigers are giving out sparklers right now, and that's kind of
little snakes in the driveway.
But
the snakes, yeah.
So, I agree. I mean, I've said similar things. I think people forget at times. People say, "Oh, he's going to walk for only the draft pick," but that's an incomplete thing. You're getting hopefully one more year of Cy Young level caliber pitching from him on a team that can make the playoffs. That's not nothing, So I don't think I've never really thought the trade would happen. I'm always open to trades, but for that Mets list, pretty much any 2 of those pitchers and one of the hitters, I probably would have made the trade if I was 100% sure there's no way we're extending him.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I am 100% sure that they're not extending him, but
I agree with you.
at the same time, like, I don't know. Yeah, like, I understand where they're coming from. Where they want, if they're going to trade Skubal, they want basically the equivalent in MLB value this year, plus future considered. Like, you want to get that close to 5-6 WAR this year because you want it. You're primed to compete, as it were, compete for the playoffs, not necessarily for the World Series. But yeah. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with asking for a ton. If they were dead set on trading Skubal, they would have accepted less, right? We heard a similar ask for the Yankees, at least.
Yeah.
I think John Heyman said that he heard that they asked for half the team, and then he kind of added the names himself.
Yep, he did. He said so. Ben Rice, Cam
Schlittler,
George Lombard Jr. Was a part of that list, and apparently. And so right there, what's funny is, and at the minimum, and what's funny about this too is Yankees Twitter accuses Brian Cashman of being dumpster diving, similar to what the Tigers are doing, because what the Tigers are doing. So I find that kind of cracks me up because Yankee fans are incensed and pissed off more often than Tiger fans are on Twitter. And if you go on Twitter, I mean, for Christ's sake, they have their own network of fans that have been, heavily invested by people out there, Angels investors who, John Boyd Network, and that's fine and that's cool and all that. So they have their own little outlet, and that's great. That being said, though, look, that request for the and people are like, well, that's too much. Not really. No, I mean, look, and Ben Rice would solve a lot of problems. Lombard Jr. reunited with his father, but then you also have the interesting dilemma of you have another infielder to think about. Because you also have Bryce Rayner, which I want to talk about the top 100 stuff too a little bit later before we get to after championship Sundays. And the Tigers also released a lot of players, including Tiger minor league report favorite Cole Turney. Now I say that because in tongue in cheek, but Chris, how many times did we get asked about Cole Turney during the season? I felt like that happened like several times when we did a show, right?
Yeah, it was always. There were always questions about Cole Turney because every time he played, he would do something. He would, he was producing, but he was constantly hurt. And it was like, I think the last injury, it was like a minor collision at first base and he fell down and then he was in like the concussion protocol and that was it. I don't think we ever saw him again.
He was disappeared. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's just been the case with that guy. He's been hurt his entire amateur and pro career. And it's a bummer, but he was 26 in high A.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a shame. But like Alberto Oliva is another guy that they cut. He was a 2022 draft pick. He was interesting. He was kind of one of those four corners guys that we used to talk about. They had a scout who seemed to be getting, Bo Brisky and Wilmer Flores and all these people from Arizona, Colorado. But he just got hurt like 3 times. I don't know if he even pitched more than like 50 innings as a pro, and they released him. It's just unfortunate. It's one of the things that happens in pro ball. You only have so many teams. You're bringing in 15, 20 new international kids plus the free agents this year to backfill in AAA, and it's the rough part of the game. But Joe Adamets is another one. They really, the 2022 draft is basically cleared out now. It's
Dunzo.
It's Troy Melton, it's Jace Young, Jake Miller, and I guess Peyton Graham is still around. But is Danny Soretti is still technically around, I think? Or did they
I think he got signed. No, actually, he went. The Diamondbacks got him in the Rule 5.
You're right. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, let me
confirm in the minor league, in the minor league Rule 5.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the thing is too. The reason why, let's just go with the top 100, the conversation a little bit, because we'll get to the mid-starter rumors too with Nick Martinez and Jose Quintana here in a second. But Tigers made some history as Kevin McGonigal is the highest. Now I say this highest rated prospect, infield prospect Tigers have ever had in top 100 since it began in 1990. So prior to that, Riley Green, in terms of outfielder, was number 5, and then Spencer Torkelson at number 4. Kevin McGonigal coming in at number 2, highest infield prospect they've ever had. Now, the reason why this makes history also is because number 29 is Bryce Rayner. They've never had 2 infielders in the top 30 at all, ever, in the top 100. I look back, Travis Fryman was number 39. Even Infante, I don't know if Omar Infante was ever in the top 100, maybe towards the back end of it. I should have checked that one apart, but I know Tony Clark was on there for like a hot minute. But Bobby Higginson, if you think about all the Tigers in the 90s that were successful from the system, it was Fryman, Higginson, and that's really it. I mean, and Tony Clark, it took him a while. It took him 6 years before he even made the majors because A, he was injured when he was playing basketball, and the Tigers let him play both sports. But B, at the same time, they literally just, Damon Hazley came over from the Gene Haas. Is it Gene Haas trade? Yeah, that was it. And this is significant because you look at, and JJ Cooper, somebody on Twitter said, "Oh, what does it matter?" And then JJ Cooper and Mike Piliano from MLB literally were like, "What the hell are you guys talking?" And normally it was a throwaway tweet that I had, and it suddenly got some sort of interaction early in the morning. But you look at the top 100, at least in top 25, a lot of them become regular MLB players, and that's significant. It's not top 100. People talk about Keith Law being a snob about prospects and everything. Baseball America, if you make the top 10 in Baseball America's top 100, even from 1990 to 2000, without all the technology they have now, that's significant, guys. And to me, it's a good sign of good things to come when you have also Max Clark on there in the top 10 as well. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. If you guys want to argue with me about whether these guys become regulars or not, well, there's evidence to prove that you're wrong.
Well, I mean, the thing the people who are complaining most about these lists or dissing them, they watch no minor league baseball. You guys, do this all the time. The guys at Baseball America do this exponentially more. I mean, that's their whole life is built around it. To say that these lists have no meaning is silly. I mean, they're not the end all be all. I mean, they are wrong sometimes, but so what? The numbers prove it. As you mentioned, JJ put them out there. I mean, you get on that list, there's a good shot you're a real major leaguer.
Yeah. First of all, Omar Infante was 95th in 2002.
Oh, I'm so close. I'm so close. What did I say, 98? Did I say 98?
Something like that, but it doesn't matter. No, I think there are a couple things there. First of all, one fun thing is they kind of do their top 100 similar to the way we do ours, where they have 6 or 7 different editors and they put together their lists. And you'll see Rayner was, I think, low, his lowest was 40th, but Cooper had him 13th already. And they had an article about who could be the number 1 prospect next year, and I think Jeff Ponce suggested Bryce Rayner. There were 3 for Jesus Made, and then Bryce Rayner got in there. So, yeah, this is a remarkable amount of infield talent in that there is some and 2 very high-ranked guys. But, yeah, I think the point of Cooper's article, or he had a couple articles, but it's sort of similar to if anybody's ever followed college football recruiting. It's like not every single player works out the way, not every player in the top 10 is going to end up being a star or superstar, an all-star or anything like that. But when you look back at it, almost every star or superstar was in a top 10 or a top 20. That's just the way it works. And the more 5 stars you get in college football recruiting, at least in the old days before the transfer portal, the more likely you were going to have success. Not everyone was going to work out. Some of them were Derek Green, who would 5-star running back from Michigan, who would fall anytime somebody touched him. And it doesn't mean you can't find talent elsewhere. Like, I don't think Jose Ramirez was ever a top 100 prospect. He may have been at some point, but he was really ranked below a bunch of other guys in the system, including Old Tigers rapper. What was his name? I'm forgetting. Like 2019 level Tiger, put up one of the worst seasons ever, but was also really fun and would hit for power and speed.
2019 Tigers.
Yeah, the infielder. Maybe it was 2021.
You're not talking about Dixon. You're not talking about Dixon Machado, are you?
No, this was he was a guy from the Cleveland organization.
Paul
Ronnie Rodriguez. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, Ronnie Rodriguez was ranked higher than Jose Ramirez because of the tools. But so they don't always get it right. But generally speaking, like if you're a number 2 prospect in Baseball America, you're probably going to be pretty damn good, unless you know, every now and then there's a Dustin Ackley
or Ben McDonald.
Yeah. Well, pitchers are always like, you never know. But,
Yeah, it's true. Pitchers are. And somebody was asking about if Jackson Jobe going to be the next ace in our chat about if he can be the potential ace. He has to really stay healthy, and that's right now not the case. You're right. Pitchers, Jobe was number 2, so that comes with some sort of caveat. So I mean, it's some sort of like asterisk because you're right. Pitchers. I mean, maybe we should put a disclaimer in there, except for pitchers, because they, like. You think about, like, I think here's an obscure reference for you guys, and you guys may or not this in the chat. Remember this? Remember the White Sox had that future rotation that was similar to the Mets with Jack McDowell, Alex Fernandez, and they had, I think, James Baldwin in there at some point too. I forgot that, but they had this really big. It was going to be this big, what was it? I'm sorry.
Was it Aaron Seeley? Was he part of that?
Yeah, good call. That was good. Yeah, that's a good.
Oh wait, no, he was with. Well, I don't know. Jason Beret, maybe?
No, Jason Beret. Okay, no, you're right. Jason Beret. Yeah, Jason Beret. But that was going to be the next big rotation, the sex, because all those guys were ranked high on some lists and end up being that McDowell ended up being just Black Jack. I mean, that was his nickname, Black Jack, but ended up being, Jack Crap. I mean,
yeah, McDowell had some. Did he win a Cy Young?
Did he win a Cy Young? Man, I feel like a dick for saying that, but
I mean, he had some good years. I don't know if he won a Cy Young.
Yeah.
91, 92, maybe? I'm looking. So from 91.
Scott Erickson won 91. That I know that for a fact.
I thought he came in second.
Who, Jack? What? No.
Wasn't 91 Eckersley?
That's what I said. That's what I said.
I thought you said Erickson.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Is it Erickson or?
I was saying Dennis Eckersley.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of that. Yeah, Scott Erickson won in 91 with the Twins because he went like 21-9 or something like that. Some stupid win stat.
Oh, Eckersley was 92. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought Erickson came in second, but in any event, yeah.
Did Jack McDowell win the Cy Young? I don't think he did.
How?
No, probably not.
Yeah, but
he did. He won. He won the Cy Young in 1993.
Huh? Okay. You know what?
22 and 10.
All right, guys. That's on me.
No, I mean, none of us had the right years for anything. It's all right. We were like 11 and 12.
But wait. What was this innings and strikeouts? That's I got curious.
Oh, all right.
See, okay. For example, Dave Steve, there was a Secret Base did a really YouTube. If you guys had a chance to look up Secret Base on YouTube, they did this really 3-part documentary, or this 2-part documentary, on David Steve and how good he was, even though the wins and losses were not there. Thank you, Armando. That's another one right there. Generation K.
Yeah.
Paul Wilson.
Paul Wilson.
Isringhausen was the only one who had success, and it was as a reliever.
Yeah.
You can even think back, like, it's different, right? But anytime you have like this nasty rotation of the future, it never quite works out. The Mets of a decade ago had Syndergaard and DeGrom and Wheeler and whom else? Matz and a couple other guys. And, they were really successful, and they've been successful, but it didn't, amount to anything for the Mets.
Yeah. Remember, I mean, because the Generation K was replacing the great Anthony Young. Remember that he was on ESPN all the time because of his losing streak. He lost like 18 in a row or something like that. You guys remember that? AY.
So, 1993 when McDowell won the Cy Young, he went 22 and 10. So 22 wins, led the American League. That's why he won the Cy Young. 256 innings pitched, a 3.37 ERA, and 158 strikeouts. So, 5.5 strikeouts per 9. But that's what let's see who he defeated. We probably had much more WAR than him, but
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Whoops. Randy Johnson was number 2 with 6.6 WAR. Kevin Apier finished 3rd. He had 9.3 WAR that year.
Holy crap.
Yep. 2.56 ERA and 238 innings. But since WAR did not exist, there you go.
Yeah.
Jimmy Key was 4th at 6.3 WAR. So McDowell was like 4th in WAR, but because he had 22 wins, he won the second.
Yeah, he look, the Apier season 2 on paper, he had a K per 9 of 7. And yeah, his FIP was 2.90 in the beginning of that what would become the steroid era. That's impressive.
Yeah, that guy was a nice, steady pitcher boy all those years.
Yeah, one of my favorite windups of all time. Just that kind of rear back and yeah, he was an old-fashioned. To me, he had an old-fashioned starter to him. So
this is one of my funnest things, or like my most favorite things to look at, just because of such the different process now. Oh boy, and I spilled water all over my table. Same year, 93, Jose Rijo had 9.3 WAR, but finished 5th in the Cy Young awards because he went 14-9.
Nice.
yeah, and he had 227 strikeouts.
Yeah,
which put him gave him he led the National League in strikeouts.
I'll be back shortly.
And that was a guy too that could not stay healthy. But speaking of starters, by the way, so the Tigers this week, there's been rumors that they were interested in former Red starter Nick Martinez and Jose Quintana, the former Met White Sox. So we're all familiar with him, and that adds to the Chris Bassett stuff. Chris Bassett and Lucas Giolito rumors from a while back at the beginning of January. So, let me ask you a question. Out of those 4, and you had to pick 2, what 2 would you choose and why?
Bassett and Martinez. That's where I'm going. That's my first thought right away. I am a little worried about Bassett's age. Obviously, he's, I think 35 or 36.
Yeah, I think he's 32. Yeah, that's what
36, whatever. But he's an effective pitcher. He's a steady guy. He puts up a lot of innings. I think you can count on him for a decent year. And if the deal is 1 or 2 years, then I think that would be a great way to go. I'm a little worried about Giolito. He's so up and down. Are you going to get the 5 ERA Giolito or the 3.5 ERA Giolito? You have no idea. He's a good pitcher, but I wouldn't go. I would go the Bassett route first. And then Martinez, he's a steady guy, but he's also done some bullpen work. So if they have guys who, if the rest of the rotation comes around as they hope, Martinez can get stuck in, into long relief and probably be effective there.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea as a swing guy for Martinez. Of those one, I mean, here's what I probably go with. I go with Giolito and Martinez, and I say Giolito because his second half numbers were pretty strong, and he's a guy who I think if the Tigers, because he's age too, he's a little younger.
Yep,
it gives him the opportunity to really kind of give a guy that an opportunity, and the Tigers have thrived with that. You look at what they did with Jack Flaherty. So I think that the age there, Martinez is what you mentioned. I like that idea of him being a swing guy. I got to give credit to somebody who I was talking to earlier in the week, Tiger Mike on Twitter, a good friend of the show, and he made a suggestion too that I really like about if they sign somebody like Verlander or Scherzer. I think Verlander's going to Baltimore. I've said this once, I'll say it again. I said that last month. I'm going to say it. He's going back home. He's from Northern Virginia, not too far away. Baltimore needs a frontline starter. Verlander is it. But I think what you're going to see with Scherzer or Verlander is maybe those guys could sign in July for the stretch run, maybe go to the ultimate contender. They don't have to go through 100 innings. They go to give them the 50 best, 60 best innings for the postseason because that's when you need them the most. Gives a crap about the first half. Yeah. And so I like that idea quite a bit. But so Chris, I know you were cleaning up there. So the 4 guys that were and here's the reason why Jose Quintana's numbers are just getting worse and worse. And I think Quintana's best days are behind him as a lefty. He doesn't offer much. But Chris, the 4 names, Chris Bassett, Lucas Giolito, Nick Martinez, and Jose Quintana, which 2 would you choose and why?
Which 2?
Yeah.
Well, Bassett's my favorite of that group. I know he's the oldest, but he's also been incredibly consistent over the last 5-6 years. And it's like, he's not an ace or even a number 2, but like you're not going to find a more consistent number 3 starter out there. There's like Doug Fister vibes, right? He doesn't get by with velocity. He just throws like 13 different pitches and gets guys out. After that, I haven't looked into it. Like Giolito's been so up and down. I'd be a little bit wary. He's had multiple arm injuries, I think. And Nick Martinez is a lefty, right? Or no?
He's a righty, I believe.
All right. Sorry. I'm confusing him with the old Martinez that the Tigers used to have.
Oh, the former journeyman guy who went to the Padres, I believe, afterwards.
Yeah. Nick Martinez, no, doesn't miss bats. At least hasn't in the last 2 years. Doesn't really appeal to me neither. It's Quintana, so I guess in that regard, I guess I would go with Giolito just because there might be some upside remaining. He's probably the youngest of that group.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would stick with Bassett for me. And I think with Bassett, like you don't want to get stuck in another Kenta Maeda deal. And I know people are worried about that sort of thing with these older pitchers or Alex Cobb. But Bassett's been crazy healthy, and they are going to need somebody to pitch next year. Like Skubal is gone for sure. Mize is almost certainly gone. Flaherty's almost certainly gone. That's like 70% of your innings. So you got Reese Olson, you got Troy Melton, you got maybe Jackson Jobe back. I don't know who else they're going to have to pitch next year. So they're going to need. You're not going to run like Andrew Sears and Jake Miller out there. So I think you're going to need somebody else. So sign Bassett to a 2-year. I don't know, $22 million, or no, I guess it would be more like $40 million. I'm trying to think in my head. Yeah, so somewhere between $35-40 million for 2 years, and maybe even give them an option for a third if it, like all things go well. But that's what I would do. I think it kind of depends though on what happens. Like if Skubal gets the $32 million in arbitration, I don't think they're going to go for another big contract. It'll be like a $4 million Quintana type who they can cut. If Skubal gets $19 million, they may have more money to play with. I don't know.
Yeah, and I know people are like wondering about why. Excuse me. The Tigers will not spend because of the factor in the TV deal. They still haven't announced a TV deal as of yet, so that plays a factor. But at the same time, I think the Tigers have to address this. They still need a starter because even they've signed every single one under the sun for Major League from Toledo to get a chance at Toledo, a chance to win a job out of spring training, but. I mean, Drew Anderson is a guy who's got 2 major league starts underneath his belt. So you have Melton, who's a reliever who can start. Don't get me wrong, he can start. It's not that I just poo-pooing that, but you want a guy with experience. And you look at this current transaction list right now. The Tigers, by the way, signed Corey Jukes. Ooh, Corey Jukes. Yeah. I mean, the numbers. I will say I'll give credit to Benji in our Discord, who said his swing path and pattern is very similar to Jahmai Jones. So, but his split against lefties is not as good. So, as far as that goes, Tigers re-signed Tim Daughton. So, Tim Daughton, welcome. They have Phil Pickford, who is going to be reliever. All these guys are just like, who? It's bargain bin, Jalen Evans, which will probably start at West Michigan. He's a local guy who's come back home. So, that's a cool story. But as somebody mentioned in here, here's the bargain bin. But at the same time, you look at the market. I mean, are you going to spend $8 million or whomever or $4 million on Jose Quintana? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, we've seen this. This is their MO, and we've talked about this before with how you end up with guys in Erie for 3-4 years. Is they basically just fill AAA with former big leaguers or guys who have had big league experience. And if there's an emergency, they bring somebody like that up. And occasionally they'll push a reliever through like a Dylan Smith or a Brian Summers. And but other than that, like if they need an arm, they'll go, okay, Phil Bickford. And Bickford comes up and gives them somewhere between 1 and 10 innings, and then he's gone. That's just the way they like to do it. So,
again, funny. Spent so much time reading about Phil Bickford in his draft year. Felt like I knew that guy pretty well.
He was tied to the Tigers at the time. I remember it was not necessarily tied, but it was like he's a guy in the range where they'd be picking. And I remember it was him and there was another kid. And then Bickford, I don't remember if he was the one who – there was another guy who got drafted and went to school and then switched from 4-year college to JUCO and got drafted the next year. It may have been Bickford. I'm not sure. But Bickford also got busted for smoking pot twice when that was a thing. It might still be a thing. I don't know. And then, of course, he broke Jacoby Jones's hand. Like there was a game in 2020 where he came in and I want to say he hit like 2 of the 3 batters he faced. It was a disaster. But he's stuck around. He's been bouncing around for a couple other organizations. He can throw. I remember Corey Julks, the Jokester, the Jokomaniacs out there.
Brother.
Yeah, as a power guy. I don't think he has the contact. Like his contact rates are lower than Jemai Jones, but we talked about this before too. It's easy to add all these pitchers in spring or before the season starts, but all these hitters are waiting. You're kind of waiting on guys ahead of them to get signed, and then they can start filtering into new organizations. But
it's crazy. I got some audio from the among the Tigers front office.
I've heard of half of these guys. The ones I do know are waiting. That's the prime. Most of these guys never had a prime.
That's crazy. So that was the actual audio from.
I like it.
Sorry, I made myself laugh at that, but anyway, that's a kind of like when I get random texts from people that are friends of the show and they're like, hey, what are they doing? I'm like, guys, I'm just a writer, podcaster, marketer guy. I can't summon the energy or the frustration factor. It's frustrating, but at the same time, it is a thing where they're going to be throwing everything underneath the kitchen sink and the kitchen sink itself to give the Tigers themselves some innings. So, yeah.
When you think about innings, what do you guys think? What is Keter Montero this year? If you could crystal ball it, where do you see him, say, in July?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be another year of him kind of starting in Toledo as a starter and then coming up and giving them somewhere between 40 and 120 innings as they need. I do think at a certain point, they probably need to, ideally, I guess they'd move him to the bullpen this year, but I think they're looking forward and saying, we might need him. He might be a member of the rotation next year permanently. So they probably don't want to, ramp him down just to throw relief innings, but he looked pretty good as a reliever in the playoffs. The numbers weren't necessarily crazy, but I think that would be a good role for him. But I mean, the one thing about Montero, and fingers crossed, is he's been incredibly healthy for most of his pro career. I don't think he's had any real injuries. We were at a game where he got hit by a comebacker on the foot. What was that, 2021 in West Michigan? It's the opening day, maybe 22. Other than that, I can't think of any times he's gotten hurt. But then I said the same thing about Ty Madden heading into last year, and he missed all of last year with a shoulder injury. So
yeah, I think Montero is going to be a guy who I was going to say 120 innings tops, but yeah, I think the Tigers are going to rely on him more next year than this year. But I don't think he's a bullpen guy. He's a guy who can go out and give you that opener vibe. I think third time through the order it struggles because sometimes he'll hang up that. He tries to get that slider, or I forgot the pitch that he always just hangs up and just gets smacked around. But yeah, we have a couple questions that we're going to address here before we get out of here. Adam, I got your question here in the chat, but I do want to talk about something that to me is ultimately, we just saw Sergei Fedorov just got his jersey retired by the Wings a few weeks ago. Congratulations to him. Sergei Fedorov was one of my favorite players in NHL 95. Just fantastic. When you do the cheat move around with Sergei Fedorov, anything better. By the way, for those out there who think the NHL series of video games was better on Super Nintendo than Genesis, you are 100% incorrect. Genesis.
Does anybody think that?
No, there's a couple guys in high school I went to that were like, "Oh no, the Super Nintendo version was far superior."
Absolutely wrong. All the sports games were better on the Genesis, except for the occasional one that was made for Super Nintendo only.
Yeah, or wrestling games. I think wrestling games is fair to say I think were better on Super Nintendo, but that can be debatable. Except for because of games like Saturday Night Slam Masters, which I can get into another day. But so yesterday the Pirates, Andrew McCutchen, possibly former center fielder Andrew McCutchen, called out the Pirates for not including him at Pirates Fest, contrasting it to this is an update came over on Twitter to Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals, Clayton Kershaw, Ben Shirlington praised McCutchen's leadership but stayed non-committal about a return as the Pirates are trying to build for the playoffs with guys like Brandon Lowe, what have you. But there's a lot of the analysts in Pittsburgh. The fans are saying bring him back. The analysts are like, they're trying to be serious here. And I know there's two schools of thought, but look, Andrew McCutchen last year I know you were pointing out he was third in team in home runs, but I think there's a spot for him. I mean, look at what the Tigers. I mean, look, I know Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers weren't close to contention, but I think there's a role for McCutchen here. And Pittsburgh already suffered a black eye last year the way they handled the Roberto Clemente with their stupid, let's just take down his number and put this Surfside. I don't understand. The Pirates, to me, look, the Pirates are trying to contend, and they're building a good roster for once. They have Connor Griffin. They have some eternal pieces. It look like they're trying to do something, but also at the same time, it's also because we're getting called out to the map because they have to spend money. But what a joke. I mean, look, I know McCutchen isn't a guy he's not an everyday regular, but if he can help somebody, but handle it a little better than that, man. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? He's come back to Pittsburgh. He wants to finish his career here. He made it clear, and you're just going to go, screw you. Am I just imagining that?
No, I don't know. It's tough. Like he's 39 now. It's kind of wild to think he was part of that epic 2005 draft class, which actually I'm not sure if we'll see a Hall of Famer from that first round, but it was an incredibly good first round. Justin Upton, Alex Gordon, Maben, McCutchen, Jay Bruce, who am I missing? Ryan Zimmerman, Ryan Braun. Like a bunch of these guys are going to be up for the Hall of Fame next year, and McCutchen's still playing. Yeah, I mean, it's a franchise legend there in Pittsburgh. He's probably your best homegrown player since Barry Bonds, maybe. Yeah. So, yeah, you'd like to think that they would be a little bit more considerate there, but teams are always like they're trying to win, and maybe McCutchen doesn't fit into their plans. I don't know, man. Make him a special assistant to the front office.
I just think as long as he has some ability left, is not stumbling over himself, there's always a way to carry a dude on the roster. I mean, it's just a matter I don't know how much money they're saving by not taking him back.
Also Tigers could have a Tiger Fest too. That's an idea. Look, if there's one thing I would love to do, my dream, I'll tell you guys this, and Tigers, hopefully they're listening to this, but my dream would be to do a podcast at Comerica Park live. Do a live show at Comerica Park one day and do it at Tiger Fest. And look, if the weather is what it is outside, fine. I don't care. I would do it. I mean, we've done one at West Michigan. We've done one at Erie. So Toledo's next. Lakeland, there wouldn't be much to be there for, but that'd be cool to do. But so yeah, go ahead, Chris.
So wait, did Tigers Fest, did they have it last year?
No, they haven't had it. They haven't had it since.
I'm looking. Let's see what
they have the caravan. They bring the winter caravan, but it's not like at a certain location where they haven't. They have the caravan where a couple of years ago I covered an event at what they were at Detroit Western High School, International High School, where they were giving out some gloves. They had some players there, but they don't do like an event where everybody could get gather up like they did at Joe Louis Arena and at Comerica Park. I remember I got Ryan Perry's autograph somewhere.
Very nice.
Yeah, Ryan Perry, or I forgot who. There's another prospect in there that I had in there, but it was at Joe Louis Arena, and that was like back in 2004, 3, something like that. It's just a real long time ago. But okay, so here's a couple question here from Adam. The position loss of the team has frustrated me over the last year. Where does Keith play? Where does Verling play? Who's third base? Who's center field? And the answer being wherever, whoever. Adam, that's a very, very legitimate frustration, and I understand your pain with it because the Tigers haven't really announced who's playing third base. I mean, Cole Keith is going to have the full opportunity to do so. I'll start with you on that question.
What I was thinking about when we were talking about Jet Williams earlier, I think he fits right in, right? I mean, plays all over the place. AJ Hinch would love that. So it is a bit frustrating when you watch from afar like we do, and we monitor the hot stove and we want to see what moves they're going to make. And you just look at the Tiger roster and they have guys who fit in a lot of different places. And they, you just think back to the old days when we all collected baseball cards and whatnot, and you just knew you got that guy and he's their shortstop, he's their second base. That's not what AJ Hinch is going to do. And I think he is, whether that comes from Hinch or Harris or they both agree on it, that's just where this club is. And I think, in my mind, I do think Cole Keith will eventually be the third baseman, but that's nothing more than a guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think with health, I don't think third base and center field are a big question. right now on opening day, at least. I think it's going to be Colt Keith and Parker Meadows. Now, if they were facing a lefty starter, it could be Matt Vierling at either of those positions. I don't know who your starting shortstop is going to be. That's the one that like is it McKinstry? Does Trey Sweeney make some sort of weird swing change that he needs to and actually make the team? Is Javi Baez your starting shortstop? Is Javi Baez just your backup center fielder? That's the part I don't know. Is it Kevin McGonigal? Do they just go, hey, let's just do it? I guess, if I were to guess right now, I think it might be McKinstry, which is not ideal. But that's the position that I'm not sure about. But I think they really want Keith to take that third base position. And I think they're content with Vierling being kind of a super sub utility man because he can play the outfield and he can play third base and he's a right-handed bat. So he could be good for whenever you face a lefty. But I don't know. And then that makes me wonder, like, what's Winslow Perez's role on the team? Does he even make opening day roster? I guess we'll see.
I think it'll be Baez at shortstop. I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if it's not, unless Kevin McGonigal hits 415 in spring training and forces their hand.
Yeah. I think that even if Kevin McGonigal does have the Tigers are going to somehow start him in Toledo. I still think he's going to start in Toledo. It's even with the grade tool and everything like that. There's so many things to love about Kevin McGonigal, but at the same time, I think the Tigers are going to try to pump the brakes for everybody. I personally think, Middlebug, that's well said. If Baez can give a 1.5 WAR season, 10 home runs, I think he has an ability to have a 2 WAR season. I really think so. But I think that because Baez is the most veteran ship of them all, he deserves that opportunity. And then Kevin McGonigal takes over and Baez, retires to the sun or whatever he decides to do. But look, Javi Baez is a player last year's utility player, was such a great story that I don't think it's talked about often to me enough, that Baez did the yeoman's work, because with Parker Meadows injured and he struggled when he came back, if it wasn't for Baez, Tigers are not in the postseason. I don't care what you tell me. You can tell me I'm wrong, but there's evidence that proves that Baez was just so valuable enough to make an All-Star appearance to the anger of Twins fans with Brian Buxton after the season he did.
Yeah, he was arguably their most consistent offensive player in the playoffs, which is kind of just amazing. Sort of what you expect. I was looking; he did have the third lowest walk rate of the last decade last year, but he still put up 1.4 WAR. It was a positive defensive player. It was an 86 WRC plus, so not ideal, but 12 home runs, and he definitely won them at least one game, that Boston game when he hit a couple home runs. I just, that's the thing, is like, I don't know if you trust him to, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens in spring training and maybe the World Baseball Classic. Is he playing for Puerto Rico?
Yes, he is.
So we'll see what happens there. Still superbly physically talented. Just, you get the good and the bad. And when it's good, you get that 1 month, was it May last year? It was like, whoa, Javi Baez, and making these incredible catches in center field and stuff. I'm just assuming they're going to try to really get the platoon advantage. And, if you start the game with McKinstry at shortstop, then Baez can come in as your defensive replacement later if they bring in a lefty, things like that. Who knows? We don't even know who's going to be healthy. They may sign another person. I doubt they're going to sign another bat, but who knows?
All right. So with that note, I wanted to thank everybody for listening to us on a Sunday as the Championship Sunday. The AFC kicks off first at 3:00 with New England and Denver, and then Seattle and the Rams. So if you're going to watch football, great. There's those two. And again, check out the odds over at our friends at FanDuel. The podcast is presented by FanDuel, and I want to thank them and Believe Network for having us and believing, pardon the pun, but believing in us with this. So we definitely appreciate it. Again, the GoFundMe is on our pinned on our Twitter account, and also check out Chris's 11 through 19 ranking over on our Patreon. Become a Patreon pal, as the affection MF Doom liked that so much, Chris, that we're going to just stick with that going forward.
Yeah, I didn't. I was looking at how to make a tag for that, and I'm like, I don't know how to do. Discord eludes me. We got 11 for 19 on Patreon. I'm going to try to get up the top 10 today on Patreon, and then those will go wide for everybody else at some point next week. We're going to give the Patreon people the first dibs, if you will. But yeah, it's prospect ranking season for sure. You talked about MLB Pipeline had their top 100. McGonigal and Clark were way up in that too. Rayner was too. Like I've never seen a like a Tigers top 4 or top 5. It's the top 4 is just universal everywhere across. It's McGonigal, Clark, Rayner, Briseño.
Yeah.
Everywhere has that.
Yep.
We'll see if Keith Law goes funky and puts Jordan Yost fourth because he loves shortstops. But other than that, like, yeah, it's been remarkable. So, and yeah, Fangraphs will be coming out relatively soon. We know our buddies at Prospects Live did a top 20.
Yeah, shout out to Mitchell, fan of the show, and he's been on the show before. Shout out to Mitchell, who did a couple of lists on, or a couple of prospects on the list.
And then we got 3 weeks till pitchers and catchers report. 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're getting there, man.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah,
I'll be back in Houston next week.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, we're hopeful. Like I said, we will be there for a spring breakout. Chris and I will be there on location. Again, thanks again for people that have been donating to the GoFundMe. If you can give us a few bucks for rental car and flight and all that stuff, that'd be greatly appreciated. I was going to drive down there, but I don't want to go into why. If you want to ask me offline, I will tell you, but I just don't want to get into it right now with that. But essentially, also my car, I just got a used Outback, and I have an older Outback, and I just put oil in it again. So I just for the sake of not putting more miles on it, I got an older Outback because for the weather like this, and I'm glad I did because it's. I was gonna get a Silverado, but then my brother's been having recall issues with his and just all sorts of stuff. But anyway, let's not get into all that. But thank you again. Stay classy, everybody. Check out our website over at TigersMLReport.com. Check out again our become a Patreon pal, and we'll talk to you more likely next week as we begin our countdown towards spring training. And there'll be a signing announcement too. Like I said, we're working with Brandon Day, and we're going to be doing another show as well, bringing that onto the thing as well. So thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Stay warm. Stay classy, everybody. Have a good night.